The audio focus for Max 6 has been driven by this desire to improve the accuracy and the precision and the audio quality and the performance of the environment. Here's an example of the play object, and it's being driven by a line object that indexes into, in this case, a really long buffer. So in Max 5, I have Max 5 running down here. If we try to read the second half of this buffer and we turn on the audio, this is supposed to be a sine wave, but in this really extreme case, it's full of noise at all these frequencies that there's not supposed to be anything there. In Max 6, because of the use of 64-bit audio signals, we can do the same thing and we get exactly the frequency we want, and there's none of this noise in any of these other bands. The plot object was critical to our being able to create a new set of filter tools for Max 6. These filter tools let us create really high order filters that are capable of doing things far beyond what we were able to do previously in Max. So here we have an example of the filter design object, and it's designing a filter right now with a stop band attenuation of 84 dB, and that's graphed with the plot object down here. We can change that, and when we do, we can tell it 120 dB, and we can see on the graph that it changed the attenuation. This is now a higher order filter than it was before, and we're able to see the changes in the phase response, the group delay, and how the poles and zeros are impacted. We used the expertise that we gained in designing the filter tools and applied them to designing resampling algorithms that we are using in several places in MSP. What's happening in the poly object is nothing. It's just passing the input to the output. This is true for both of these. The difference is that we have this new resampling attribute in Max 6, and the red side will be using this new resampling attribute. So if we turn on the audio, we can now see the difference between the output produced without the resampling and the output produced with the resampling. Our input is some noise that's filtered and also a sine wave. With the resampling, we get the sine wave at 1500 Hertz. But with the non-resampled version, we're seeing that frequency mirrored throughout the spectrum, and the same thing with the noise. And this noise is generally very objectionable. The groove object also is using some resampling with a new resample attribute. In this case, we have a buffer, and the buffer contains a sine wave sweep. The sine wave sweep goes up to 96,000 Hertz. So that goes well outside the range of our current sampling rate in MSP, which I'm running right now at 44,100 Hertz. So if I start the loop, we'll have a frequency that will be sweeping up through the spectrum. So that frequency is located right here at this main lobe. The blue is the groove as it's always existed. The red uses the new resampling attribute. We can start to see down here that there is some significant noise as frequencies are aliased back into the spectrum that shouldn't be there. As we get to 20,000 Hertz, the red goes away, but instead we have all kinds of noise coming out of the original. So this represents a dramatic improvement in the sound quality that we can achieve in Max 6.